Let's move now from the economy to international issues. Mr. Shays, when should American troops withdraw from Iraq, and how?
The American troops can and should withdraw in December of 2009. We should have about 5,000 leave each month. I voted for a bill in the Senate and the House that said that should be the deadline. I have been consistently supporting it. I voted against withdrawing our troops in 2007. I thought that was foolish. I go every 3 to 4 months. The Iraqis are absolutely beyond excitement. They think they've won. We think they've seen the light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm absolutely convinced that we need to bring our troops back. And I said that in November of 2006, that we needed a timeline, but I never said it was a timeline to fail. I said it was a timeline that would tell them we wouldn't be there forever and we wouldn't leave tomorrow. The timeline at the end of 2009, ironically, is 5 months sooner than Barack Obama or even my opponent, who criticizes me for this timeline. And by the way, I do not support sending more troops to Afghanistan until we make sure we don't make the same mistake there that we made in Iraq. We aren't training enough of their own. And if we send too many of ours, we will be a nation that is imposing ourselves on that country. And the Afghans will unite against us. We need to train more Afghanis. We need to make sure the Europeans do half the heavy lifting, half of the cost, and half of the fighting. They make sure that their troops don't get in harm's way.
It's clear to everyone that we can no longer afford this war in Iraq. We've lost 4,200 young men and women. We're spending $10 billion every single month, 6,000 miles away from the very real problems here. Even if that weren't true, we aren't seeing the agreements on the part of the Kurds and the Sunnis and the Shiites, the three ruling parties, warring parties, around how they share oil revenues and how they govern the country. I believe that they are only going to make those agreements when they believe that we are exiting. And they're only going to believe that we are exiting when we actually start to exit. Now, to Chris Shays' point on Afghanistan and where he was on Iraq, it was actually August of 2006 when Chris Shays called a press conference to say that he supported timelines for a withdrawal of our troops. He then went to Congress and voted consistently against timelines. I don't think you get to do that as a leader. Now, going into an election, he's making the statement that, ironically, he believes that we can withdraw faster than Barack Obama thinks we can withdraw. We've seen this movie before. Now, on Afghanistan, Chris Shays is doing exactly what he did in the Iraq War, which is not listening to the generals. Generals were fired for telling the truth going into Iraq. In Afghanistan, Commanding General McKiernan is calling for 20,000 additional troops. I say, let's listen to the military commanders on the ground, finally.